All right, guys, many of you may know this. A couple weeks ago, I got sent some photos of what looked like a living thylacine. It was so exciting because they were the most convincing pictures that I have ever seen to date. Now, this happens all the time. We get sent all kinds of sighting reports and images of animals that are usually just a case of mistaken identity, but there was no mistaking the identity of these photos. So, the little alarm bells went off. Huge amount of skepticism that a kid from the Midwest could have possibly found and photographed a living thylacine. So we decided to record the entire thing, record the conversation, and put it out to YouTube as a sort of crowdsourcing bullshit meter. And sure enough, you guys at home, some people in particular, the skeptics, the gaming beaver, our own producer Edwin, went to extreme lengths to figure out why this was a hoax. And we're going to break it down for you very briefly here, because this is not our thing. We're not a debunking channel, but why it's worth everybody at home knowing that these were not real thylacine pictures. Doesn't take away from the fact that a thylacine could still be out there, but here's what happened. So just to get you all familiar with the dates, on April 20th, as I happened to be working at our office on the East Coast, I got an email from a kid named Henry alleging that their friend Zach had caught pictures of a thylacine. I'm going to put those pictures up on screen for you guys to look at once more. And as I was working in the office, Liam from my team reached out, managed to get Henry on a phone call that exact same day so that we could dig into what had happened and try to begin to vet whether or not this was a real situation. Anyway, after we looked at these photos and were starting to think that maybe there was validity to this, we managed to get a hold of Zach that very same day and talked him into doing a Zoom interview with us. So this interview was done and filmed on the 28th of April, and this is the very video you guys saw on YouTube. I'll put a link to it right here. Now, this video premiered on YouTube on the 14th of May. We held on to it for a little bit. I sent some stuff to Nick Mooney. And in hindsight, I wish I had listened to my colleague Nick Mooney, who said to me, he said, "Forrest, don't feed the troll. This is all nonsense. Yes, the photos are compelling, but there's no way somebody got pictures like this." I got that email from Nick after I put the video out, I believe. I wish I had listened to him nonetheless. Nick is so wise. He knows so much about this stuff. And he immediately said, "This is a fake. Don't give any validity to it." But I was still holding out a shred of hope. So now that we've looked at these photos and we're starting to figure out that some of them look very convincing, but some of them look fake and the story's not really adding up, you have to ask yourself, where did these pictures actually come from? And when this entire fiasco started picking up steam, I was notified about this person by the name of Arcasuchus on Twitter. This person seems to be someone who loves to create models and lifelike practical cryptid-like animals. Well, the day we put our video out, this person shares our video on Twitter and starts saying things like, "The timing of this upload, what the f***? I don't think this one is looking real, folks. I think their team edited my pics. Where do I contact him? I'm actually getting kind of irritated." All these various comments that our producer Edwin picked up and were showing us sort of a few days after this all happened. And to be clear, when we first got those photos and the timing of those photos, I had no idea this person even existed or that someone was out there making these lifelike models. And mind you, it does look really damn good. So shout out to this guy for making an incredible model. Now, my team already alerted me to the fact that the pictures were similar and we started to get suspicious. And we basically already know at this point that the photos are fake. However, there's more to the story. Immediately, people started drawing comparisons between his model and the supposed thylacine in the picture sent to us. And thank you to those of you who did, because it really helped us poke holes in the story and get to the bottom of what actually happened. Some YouTubers go online and say this person's pictures were doctored. Some start to draw comparisons between the model and the pictures and start doing comparisons with the jaw morphology of his model and overlaying that with the gaping jaw sent to us. Nick Mooney sent me some pictures of how the jaw morphology was off. It all came together. There were some incredible people that I want to shout out that are on YouTube that are unbelievable sleuths and detectives. How they figured this out, I don't know. One guy I was alerted to is called the Gaming Beaver, and his videos took a deep dive into it, figuring out absolutely everything, going into full detail, a full-on investigation, and he even makes a joke that he could finally rest and relieve his wife from hearing all about this for the last 2 weeks because he took such a deep dive into it. But the first person that put a video out drawing comparisons with Arcasuchus' pictures was Cole Squires, who goes by the name of Skeptics, hilarious, on YouTube. And I've actually arranged for an interview with him so he can present his findings in more detail. Let's get on with Cole and hear from him himself.
The first thing is that picture of its jaw. Yeah, because that one just like looked funny off the bat, while a lot of the other pictures I thought looked very real, like very
Right.
convincing.
Right.
And so seeing that his doll had the same like top to bottom jaw angle and the same problem with like the cheek skin being too far forward so that it looked like it was squared at the back, and that looked pretty bad. So I continued to make comparisons, and then the one that really sank it for me was the stripes and the leg, the hind legs. Seeing that those things lined up super well, I was like, okay, like I went from hoping it wasn't this Arcasuchus guy because he's just an artist out there trying to make a living, went from hoping to being like pretty convinced that he had to be behind it. I was simply looking at like your comment about the metadata on the pictures.
Yeah.
You said that it was dated one day later than they reached out to you. So I'm like, okay, they reached out on the 21st seemingly. And you were referring to the 22nd as like the day after something else. So I'm like, so he's not recording this on the 22nd. So it's the 23rd or later. Mm-hmm. So using those two dates, I go and look at Arcasuchus's posting history. And there's nothing about his thylacine doll that predates the 23rd. So it would have been, as far as I could tell, impossible for someone to use his pictures as reference and manipulate them to create these photos. I am also obsessed with the idea of the thylacine and its potential continued existence. So I was interested in it on that level. I really wanted to know if these pictures were real, but I definitely did not want to be misled. So I wanted to, as you, approach it skeptically and see if it could be disproven. And it turned out it could fairly handily.
I hate that it's a hoax. I hate that a lot of people, including myself, got duped, but the one silver lining is that it got people talking about the thylacine, even if it was under false pretenses. So now that the truth is out, I hope you all get a clearer idea of what happened, and thanks to people such as the Gaming Beaver and skeptics who went to the trouble of doing full-scale investigations to find out the veracity of these photos and do incredibly in-depth videos on it, which is not what I want to do. I just wanted to tell you guys it wasn't real. So as we wrap this up, I once again want to say thank you to all of the people that went to such extreme lengths to figure all this out, figure out who these people were. Check out the videos on skeptics and the Gaming Beaver to learn more about it. And I just want to say this Arcasuchus kid, Henry and Zach, whoever they happen to be, don't go and attack them. It's not worth it. They're young kids. I'm sure they regret what they did. They made a mistake. One of them is an incredible artist, as you can see, but it's a pity they decided to get their art out there this way. It's not something that I want to promote. This is our full explanation. We're done with this. Hopefully somebody out there gets a real picture of some real extinct animals, and the next video we make like this will be the real deal. Take care.